Hey Jackals fans, welcome to Dishing in the Den. I'm Reed Keller, radio play-by-play voice of the New Jersey Jackals, and I'm here today with one of the most colorful personalities on the team, is Todd Isaacs Jr.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
Great to have you. We're going to go through a couple of questions, mostly about stuff off the baseball field, what Todd's into, some of the things that he's got going on in his personal life, and then at the end, 7 rapid-fire questions that Todd has not seen yet, and he's going to give the first answer that comes to mind. So Todd, let's get right into it.
Let's get it, baby.
You're born in the Bahamas, but you went to high school and college in the United States. When did you first come to the United States, and what was that adjustment like?
So I first moved to Delray Beach, Florida in 2010. My freshman year of high school, I went to American Heritage School in Delray Beach, Florida, home of the Stallions. The adjustment, it didn't take me very long to get adjusted to the way of life. It was kind of, it took me back a little bit because, you know, the schooling system in the Bahamas versus in America is a little bit different. It's a lot more stricter in the Bahamas in the sense of like dressing up, like attire in school, and like when I came to America, it was so lax. I was like, "Whoa, what is this?" It's kind of like I felt like I had freedom, complete freedom. So I think that was the biggest thing for me too. The second biggest adjustment I had to make was being able to slow down, being able to enunciate, pronounce my words. Having such a strong accent in the beginning. I remember my first day, my first class, I had a geography class. And I remember they going around to do the introductions, and I was petrified out of my mind because it's like, oh my God, these people won't know what I'm saying. So when I stand up to go, you know, say where I'm from, my name and everything, everybody looking at me like, hold up, what did you just say? So it took me a while to really like slow down and enunciate my words, but the overall transition from the Bahamas to America wasn't a tough one. I didn't get really homesick because the Bahamas is so close. Mm-hmm. It was only a 30-minute plane ride home. But other than that, the transition was smooth. I'm definitely grateful that it happened. My parents, I can't repay my parents enough for blessing me that opportunity to do that. If it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be here today. But as the overall transition, it was fairly easy.
So you picked up baseball when you were 3, mm-hmm. right? So what are some early memories, and when did you first start to think, hey, you know, I've got something here. This is something I want to pursue?
Boy, my early memories, I think the reason why baseball was a sport that I fell in love with is because it was a sport that I never was the best at. I always had to work hard. I always had to outwork everyone around me, and that's when I knew this is the game that I wanted to play. Because I failed so much at a young age, and you just fail over and repeatedly. And I was one of those kids that cried a lot. I hated losing. I was super competitive, and I just always wanted to be good. Mm-hmm. So I think that drive is like my earliest memory of when I knew that baseball was going to be something that took me to the four corners of the world. I ran track for a little bit. I was really good at track, amazing at track. And it was at one point I had a decision between track and baseball.
Really?
But I mean, my track coaches were stressing me out about it. My baseball coaches were stressing me about it. And it was just like pulling me in 2 different directions. And, you know, my decision, I actually didn't make it for myself. When I chose baseball, it was in 2010. I was still running track. I was in 8th grade, and this was one of my last track meets. And my grandma was there. This was the last time she seen me do anything competitive. And I just remember running the 100 meters, and my coach telling me before the race, you know, get a good start, and it should be a cakewalk. Well, I remember having a terrible start, and the 100 meters is a short race, so you don't have a lot of room to catch up. I just remember like something was in the air, something that was around me that helped projected me to win that race. And that was the last race I ran because 10 days after that, my grandma died. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I'm good with track. That's my decision right there. It was around the time when my parents were starting having the conversation of sending me to America. My mom didn't really want me to go. She thought I was too young. She's like, there's no way a 13-year-old boy could go live in America in high school by himself. And my grandma really pushed her. She really pushed her to say, hey, I think this decision is right here is the best thing that could happen for him. So my grandma is the reason why I'm here today.
Wow.
Between track and baseball, she's the reason why I stuck with baseball. She's the reason why I gave up track, and she's the reason why my mom looked at the opportunity as, hey, this could be something that could get him to his dreams. You know, my parents, my dad early on was like, okay, I want him to he has the potential to play professional baseball. I had no idea how professional baseball worked, how college baseball worked. I just knew that I was going to play baseball.
Right.
And that's all that mattered to me. All that mattered to me was just being able to play every day, have fun, and just make the best out of it. So my early years, transitioning, starting, and falling in love with the game, I think that the failing so much is the reason why I'm still playing today. Is the reason that I wake up every morning, that keeps me going, is because it's something that I can't perfect, and I can't be perfect at it every day. So it's something I always have to get better, and I love that challenge. So for me, my earliest memories of baseball, and when I knew that I wanted to play this game for a very long time, was the fact that I never backed down. I was never scared, number one, and I was never scared to look bad, and I always wanted to compete.
That's
always.
amazing.
And I think baseball is what helped transition into everything off the field. My competitive nature with baseball has taken me to so many places off the field that is, I'm forever grateful to the sport.
That's great.
I owe the sport so much.
So, in addition to everything that you've done with baseball, you started Don't Blink, which does a little bit of everything, just like you did in your past. A little bit of baseball, a little bit of track and field. Don't Blink does clothing, they do show producing, but probably most well known for the Home Run Derby in Paradise. How did the company start, and how did you come up with the idea for the Derby?
Well, Don't Blink started, I would say, I got the phrase Don't Blink. I don't even know how it came to me, but I always give the backstory of why it resonates and sticks so much is because what Don't Blink means to me in essence is in life you only have a short window of success and failure, being number one, being number two. I had two instances in my life that I'll never forget. I hold these personal dear and near to me to this day. The two people that beat me in those races, this was in track and field. They probably don't even remember these races. It was so long ago, but those two moments for me made me realize that was the one time that in essence I relaxed, in essence I blinked. And I lost two critical races that meant in the moment, that meant so much to me, and I was so hurt by it. One of them was I had an opportunity to race for Team Bahamas. I've never represented the Bahamas in anything. We don't have a national baseball team, and that track was my only opportunity. And it was 100 meters, 200 meters, back-to-back days. I also had a baseball tournament that same weekend that I was practicing and training for. At this point, in the track season, I was focusing mainly on baseball. But my track coach called. She's like, hey, I think it's a great opportunity for him to come. He can make a Team Bahamas, whatever. Cool. So I remember catching 7 innings or however many innings we played back then, and then speeding to the track, changing in the car. My mom got me some Wendy's, 10-piece nuggets from Wendy's. I'll never forget it.
You remember everything about this.
Details. This is how personal it is to me. Just putting on my icy hot on my legs, on my back. I'm banged up from the game. So I run my heat. Did well, fastest time for the finals. We get to the finals late in the evening. I remember having a great start. Boom. I was like, oh yeah, I'm winning this race. And within the last 5 meters, the guy passed me. This was his only time beating me this year. And they were only taking one person for each race to represent Team Bahamas. I was crushed about it. So the next day come. I remember on my way to the field, my parents telling me, hey, if you win this race, we give you $100. For me, I didn't even want the money. For me, it's more pride. So cool. I was like, okay, that won't happen again the next day. The next day comes. We're in the 200. Same thing happens. Fastest time in the heat. Lane 4 in the finals. Come to the finals, lose again within the last 5 feet. So fast forward years later, when Don't Blink came around, in essence, it came around for speed first. Everybody used to say it, like my college teammates at Palm Beach State. Once I came up with the name, I had them on my shoes. It just stuck because of how fast it was. The defense could make mistakes. But in essence, reflecting back on it, those two instances were the reason why. This is the reason why Don't Blink is so personal to me and Lucius. It's something that we feel, when you watch us work, you realize how crazy and dedicated we are to the craft. Those two instances there, I don't sleep. If I have an opportunity to get better, I'm going to get better because I know I want to be at the top, and to stay at the top, you can't let up. There's always someone coming for your job. There's a little kid that's somewhere, maybe back home in the Bahamas, that's coming for my job. There's someone that's going to be watching us play the next coming weeks that's coming for my job. So in essence, Don't Blink is me reminding myself that I can't let up. I can't, because if I want to be the best, it's people that's coming for you. Someone that wants to challenge LeBron, or someone that wants to challenge Steph Curry, someone wants to challenge Usain Bolt. if you look at Usain Bolt, he's the athlete that dominated his sport
For
the
years.
Olympics, and that's just a matter of fact that he knew that someone's coming. So for me, that's what Don't Blink means to me. And everything got started out with the Home Run Derby. It was 2017. I was on the DL. I had a concussion, really bad accident happened on the field, and I was playing in Bowling Green, Kentucky. That was the lower affiliate of the Rays. Lucius and I were playing against each other that year. He actually got called up right before this trip. And I remember I always keep a notepad with me, a notebook with me always, just because these ideas come to me at such random times. So I always keep it with me. Sometimes I write in my notes on my phone. And I remember waking up in the middle of the night. I always wanted, for my first year in pro ball, I always wanted to do something in the community in the off season. Because it's like, why not? So it came to me in a dream. The Home Run Derby came to me in a dream. And I remember waking up in the middle of the night, writing it down and going back to sleep. Not remembering when I woke up again, if I did or not. I just remember I had an incredible idea, and then I opened a notebook and I was like, that's it.
That's something.
So I tell my roommate at the time, Juan Hillman, who still pitches with the Indians, I say, yo, what you think about this? I was like, I don't know how it's going to work. So the next phone call, I call my dad. It's like, hey, I don't know what this could be, but this is what I'm thinking. He's like, a baseball on the beach? He's like, I don't know how we gonna do it, but we gonna do it. So boom, I hang up from him. I call Lou. I was like, Lou, what you think about this? He's like, bro, if we pull that off the way you talking right now, this could be the most amazing baseball event in the world. So now fast forward to today, the Home Run Derby is like the coolest thing I've been a part of. I'm extremely blessed and fortunate to, create an event that brings such awareness to the Bahamas, number one, because that's the most important thing, bringing attention to the Bahamas. And then two, creating a platform for our players back home in the Bahamas to showcase their talents to the Bahamian people and to the world. We don't have a national stadium yet. They're building one right now. We don't have proper baseball fields back home. So this was something where giving the kids the opportunities to showcase their talents in front of everyone. Like I said earlier, we don't have a national Bahamas team, so it wasn't like we played games growing up with our Bahamian people there to watch us play. So the Home Run Derby was something we wanted to create that platform, and now it's grown into something that at a rate that I can't even believe to this day.
Right.
The players that are interested, the players that are coming down, the players that have been there so far are some of the best players in the world. So for me, it's a real humbling experience being able to put this all together. Being able to have conversations with, players that I dreamed of wanting to be like growing up, and having these guys show me interest in wanting to come down is a really humbling experience for me, because the Bahamas is a small country. I'm a small person in this universe, and I just trying to pay it forward as best as I can.
So you mentioned Lucius Fox a little bit, and a little bit about the backstory that you two share, but he's your friend and business partner in Don't Blink. How did you two meet, and what makes your working relationship so successful?
We met, I would have been my first year in 10 and under. He had just started playing baseball, so he would have been in coach pitch. And I remember watching him play, and I was like, damn, I want to play with this little kid so bad. So I remember after the game, I was like, yo, we gotta play with each other next. I need you on my team next year. So back home in the Bahamas, they do a draft before every season. And what we used to do back then was, they made this a rule now, is the best players would stay home on the draft.
So they're not seen.
So they're not seen, in essence.
Right.
In essence, they mean all the coaches know who you are and that you're the best coming up. So I was like, yo, you gotta stay home, or have your dad be a coach on our team, so make sure you're on our team. So boom, fast forward the following year, we played together for the first time, and we played together ever since growing up until we got to pro ball. And it was like a yin and yang immediately. We complemented each other very well, each other's styles of play. He's super competitive, just like me, so we always feed off each other, we always challenge each other. And he's someone that when we have these ideas, usually I'm the one that's super excited about everything. We can do this, and he's kind of like the calm one that's like he listens and then gives his input about it. And it's just a great working relationship, because we both invested in what we do, both super passionate about baseball, playing in our own personal careers, and also how can we affect the game off the field, because the biggest thing for us is when we were growing up, we didn't have very many guys to look up to. You only had Antoine Richardson and Albert Cartwright at the time. So for us, it's like we have to be the OGs for the kids coming up. Even though we haven't made it to the big leagues as yet, we have Jazz Chisholm there right now, but we took responsibility to be the OGs for everyone, even everyone in the set with us and everyone younger than us. And that's something that I personally take pride in, because I know how hard it was for me not having someone I could depend on and ask questions and feed off of, because this game is something where if you have someone that's in your corner that's been experienced, that could tell you, hey, this is what to do, this is what not to do, relax a little bit. Because for me, in my early years in professional baseball, I just wanted to get to the big leagues tomorrow. That's all I care about, waking up tomorrow and being in a show, which in essence, that's not possible. You have to go through your process, and I didn't really understand that. I just wanted to be the best all the time. And when I wasn't the best, baseball was affecting my personal life. So as I got older, I was able to separate it and realize that, baseball isn't the only thing that matters in my life. I can't have my on the field affecting off the field. So that's when I was able to separate it, that's when I started playing my best. And I think being a voice like that for the younger Bahamians coming up is important, because I hear these kids and I see myself in them, and I'm like, damn, if he just relax and just enjoy it and just take it as it is and just have fun, he'll be there in no time. But in essence, as young kids, you want it so bad and you want it right away. We live in a society now, if you go to the gym, buy a gym membership today, you want a six-pack by Friday, which is impossible.
Right.
So I think just being able to be in a position to be that person that these guys could look up to. I haven't made it to the big leagues. I don't know it all, but I just try to be someone that everyone could rely on. The guys back home, it's us versus the world. We have a thing in the Bahamas, we say 2-4-2 versus the world. Like, if you look at any popular Bahamian athlete, everyone says that 2-4-2 versus the world. So, for me, it's just, I'm super grateful to be in that position where I could help them. And that's all that's important to me. Being able to be a good leader, a good teammate, a good friend, and I think that the rest takes care of itself.
So this isn't to knock the way that the United States does anything, but they kind of, anyone that is a celebrity, that's a superstar, and is from a community is embraced by that community. So Montclair, one of the towns here, Buzz Aldrin, the second man to walk on the moon, he's like someone that they always point to. Then the state of New Jersey has Bruce Springsteen as the person that they point to as a native son. But it seems from the Bahamas, anyone who makes it is lifted up by the entire chain of islands and everyone around there. So what do you think, why is that the way that they approach things? Why is anyone who makes it lifted up by everyone as opposed to from one specific town within?
For me, I could say, growing up, have you ever been to the Bahamas? Have you ever?
No, not yet.
Okay, so
it's on the list.
when you visit Nassau and you're walking through the airport, they have a wall of fame. Mm-hmm. On the wall of fame are all the prominent athletes from the Bahamas. On this wall, there's not very many of them. Mm-hmm. And I just remember being young and growing up. It's like, okay, you see the Golden Girls here. You see, all the guys that played in the majors before us, before our time. There's 6 of them. You see, someone that won a Olympic gold medal for sailing. You see just the small group of athletes that are from the Bahamas that at that point in time done something, so they're technically on the wall of fame.
Right.
So I could speak for myself. For me, that was a driving factor. I just came back from home yesterday and I saw the wall of fame again, and that's always a reminder for me. Is like, I want to be there one day. So you see these people, there's not very many of them, and those people are like superheroes to the Bahamas. These are people that when you see them, it's like, wow, you went out there against all odds from a small country of 300,000 people and the best in the world. Mm-hmm. So I think, our pride that we have for us for our own people is something that you could spot a Bahamian anywhere, anywhere in any sport, any profession, because They'll be the person that always keep their head up. They'll be the person that'll always work. They'll be the person that'll always be respectful, to do it the right way. And I think, just having that Bahamian pride and realizing that you represent such a small percentage of people on a global scale and affecting the world on such a huge magnitude, it speaks a lot to have a whole country behind you.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you're a small voice representing a smaller voice in the grand scheme of things. So when you're at the top and being the best right now is like the best thing in the world. So having that Bahamian pride and having everyone behind you is honestly the pushing factor. Like Jazz Chisholm, who plays with the Marlins, just had a Bahamian National Heritage Day at Marlins Park. And he hasn't even played a full year in the big league. So that in itself right there shows that he's affecting the game on a large way. And he's someone from such a small country that everyone's behind him. They had over like 3,000 Bahamians that came to the game, and that's something that they just put on the schedule 2 weeks ago. So it speaks numbers. So for me, being a Bahamian athlete and being able to represent my country every day is something I take pride in, because I in essence hold the keys for someone else that's behind me. If I'm bad, you won't want to meet that kid from the Bahamas that's coming behind me. If I suck on the field, you're not really interested in that next kid coming behind me. If I'm a terrible person in the locker room, terrible person in the community, you're like, all you remember is he's from the Bahamas.
And it paints everyone with the same brush.
Exactly. So I think it's important for us to just continue to always, be a light, always to be positive, always to just do things the right way. Be exciting. The first thing you said about me is I'm colorful. I am, because I want people to remember me for who I am. For not in essence everything that I do, but just always bringing energy, always bringing a positive attitude, always picking my guys up, always being there for everyone. That's the kind of guy I am, and I'm gonna give you my all every single day, regardless of what it is. I'm gonna be that teammate that goes out there and put it on the line every single day, and that's something that I take pride in, because that's what it means coming from the Bahamas, coming from such a small country. So for me, that's super important.
So last question before the lightning round. The one question that always gets asked of players at the independent level is, what's the goal you want to accomplish? What's the dream? And some have slightly different variations, but always somewhere on the list is make the majors, which you mentioned before. When I first met you and I asked you kind of the similar question, you said that you want to change the world, and baseball's just one way to do that. You've mentioned a couple of different ways that you've been trying to do that throughout your work. So where did you realize that, A, you had the platform to do that, and B, how does that affect your day-to-day on how you approach the game?
I would say I realized that I had that opportunity of where my opinion matters through the Home Run Derby. That's an example of me using baseball as a platform to create change, to make something a little bit better than what it was before. And that's when I realized, to pull an event off like that, you have to have conversations with people in powerful positions to make things happen when you want it at the pace you want it. And me being in these rooms with these people, realizing how much my opinion matters, is what made me go like, wow, baseball is really putting me in a position to do this right now. So the better I play, the higher I make it, the more people that's going to be interested in hearing what this kid from the Bahamas has to say. But not to take away from baseball. Baseball is a driving factor behind all of this. Baseball is a driving factor behind everything that I do. So in order for all of that to matter, I have to perform every day. I have to be that guy that shows up when it's time to show up. And when that's all said and done, everything else takes care of itself. Baseball isn't something that we could play forever. So for me, when I played in the All-Star game in 2016, the Penn League All-Star game, we had a guy come and give a speech. And what he said in his speech sticks to me to this day, because what he said is, if you haven't planned for the end, what are you doing? The sport can be taken away from you at any second. So if you don't plan for the end, it's like you're going about it all the wrong way. So for me, it's being able to set things up, put things in motion, to where once I'm done playing, there's a smooth transition into what I truly want to do. I want to make it to the big leagues. I want to be one of the best Bahamians to ever play in the big leagues. Being here in New Jersey is my stepping stone on that path. So what I just try to do every day is just try to affect the game, affect the community in a positive way, because that's at the end of the day, that's all that everyone's gonna remember me for. When they see a picture of me 20 years from now, they're not gonna remember my stats. They're gonna remember how I affected the game, how I affected everyone around me, how my teammates took to me, how my coaches loved coaching me. So for me, that's most important, because I know my preparation, my work, my attention to detail, all of that will take care of itself.
Right.
All of it on the field will take care of itself. You know, at the end of the day, the main goal is to win. And winning is all that matters. So you want to win on the field and you want to win in life. And if you suck on the field, it could kind of make you suck in life.
Yeah.
If you don't know how to separate it. So, you know, creating good habits, creating winning habits, winning attitudes, I think for me is the most important thing. And that, like you say, it'll help me be the change that I want to see in the world. Because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. How could Todd Isaacs, number one, help his team win? And number two, help be an impact in the community. And I think that, you know, that's something that wakes me up and keeps me going every day, because I know my voice matters. And I know my playing matters. I know people are going to come and want to see me do what I do. They want to see me run. They want to see me throw. They want to see me play defense. They want to see me hit balls. They want to see me steal bases. So that part, I got it.
Right.
What I do off the field, that's the part that, you know, for me, I'm learning on the fly. I'm learning how I could be a positive impact in the community, and that's important.
So it's still a growth process.
Yeah, still a growth process.
All right. So he's one of the fastest jackals I think we've ever had here at Yogi Berra Stadium. At one point, fastest minor leaguer in the country. So let's see how he does with these rapid fire questions. First one: which teammate would wear Don't Blink apparel the best?
Justin and D for sure. Justin and D. They already sport the pink Don't Blink sleeve. I gave it to him. I was like, yo, y'all want to rock this? It's like, hell yeah. So they put it on. They got it on already. So those two for sure.
Okay.
For sure.
One person, living or deceased, that you would like to have as a guest on your new talk show, Double Six.
I would say LeBron.
Really?
Yeah.
That'd be great.
LeBron. 100% LeBron. LeBron and Usain Bolt, number 2. That's 1 and 2.
That would be, so it'd be you, Lucius, LeBron, and Usain Bolt as a playing dominoes. That would be. I would just want to see you guys play dominoes.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. I'm telling you.
I believe it.
I'm speaking it into existence.
Well, I mean, yeah, sounds good. Which baseball player, living or deceased, would you like to have participate in the Derby?
Vladdy.
Yeah.
Vladdy and Tatis.
Vlad Jr.
Yeah, Vlad Jr.
Yeah, okay.
And Tatis. And maybe Ken Griffey Jr.
Oh, that would be awesome. That swing on the beach.
Ken Griffey Jr.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. Favorite thing about New Jersey so far?
My least favorite thing is the highways. Today is the very first. So I have a friend that lives here in New Jersey, and I tell her all the time, yo, I miss another exit today. Today was my first day here in a month that I haven't missed an exit. So
all right.
I'm proud of myself.
So you're getting
that's my least favorite. My favorite part so far, I don't know. I haven't seen enough to be, you know, to say what's my favorite part yet. I haven't done enough to say. We got to
get you out there.
For sure.
So, how do you pass the time outside of baseball? Favorite thing you do away from the field?
I like reading. Reading is something that I just recently got into. I like watching Netflix. When I'm home in the Bahamas, I love going on a boat. Love fishing. I love cooking. Cooking is something that I enjoy. All my friends, my close friends, know Chef T the best in the world. So hopefully you get to experience it one day. But I'd say that those things are what I enjoy to do. All the community work that we do, that's my top 5 favorite things to do.
Best memory from a road trip in baseball?
I would say driving down to Florida Christian in high school for a regional final game and beating them at their home stands. I played in front of 30,000 people. Wow. In the Alamo Dome in an exhibition game when I was with the Indians. And that high school game was the most nerve-wracking, the most intense game I've ever been a part of. And it was one that we won. I was a sophomore in high school, and it was to punch our ticket to the state championship. And that game was, like, absolutely incredible. That game I'll never forget. So far. When I make it to the big leagues, it'll change. It'll be my big league debut.
There's a lot of road trips to come.
That's what I'm saying.
So far.
That road trip to Miami, that was special. I'll never forget that.
All right, save this one for the last, because I think it's one that's going to require a little bit of thought. If you had to choose a teammate's walk-up song or a pitcher's walk-out song, which teammate would it be, and what's the song choice?
So I have a teammate that I used to play with named Mitch Longo. His walkout song was They Know by Shorty Low. The hardest walkout song I've ever heard in my life. The hardest walkout song I ever heard in my life. So I 100% that song.
So
Mitch Longo.
So you're given, but that's his that he chose.
That's
right?
his that he had.
Right.
So that's the toughest walkout song I've ever heard.
So, but which teammate on the
This
the Jackals are you
Ah.
giving a walk-up song to, and is it that song choice?
If I had to give someone a walkout, if I had to give someone that song, I would give it to D.
Yeah,
I think D would be
personifies it pretty well.
Yeah, 100%. I think he would rock that. Like I actually told him that one of the first days, like, yo, you need to use They Know as your walk-up song. So we'll see.
Could
It's
happen.
a hard song though. It fires me up when I hear it.
That's awesome.
Like walkout songs are something personal to me. Like my 2 walkout songs are from Bahamian rappers. Like every year I try to use some of their songs to just spread the word, spread their name, get their name out there. Because I really think that if they given the opportunity, that they could be superstars. So that's personally what walkout songs I use. So, but I think D would rock that song hard.
I could see that. He's Todd Isaacs. You can see him at Yogi Berra Stadium throughout the rest of the Frontier League season. Tickets are available now on jackals.com. I'm Reed Keller. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Always.
That was fantastic.